When we were kids, we tend to set our goals from graduating from high school, graduating from college, later on, get a job, start a family, and live a happily ever after life. That's what everybody wants. But as we see the reality of our lives as we grow older, we tend to change our point of view of life because it is not as easy as it seems. As we grow old, we tend to change the point of view of how are we going to spend the rest of our life. From in a 20-year span, a study reflects how people tend to choose cohabiting with before marrying or cohabiting instead of marrying that special someone in your life. This is a very big number for that 20-year span, but the tendency of people starting to favor that option more does not say that that is the best option. In a study made in high school senior students, reflect that the majority of the males and females favor the option of cohabiting with your partner or just never get married. And there are five fundamental reasons that most people that are in common in the people that decide to cohabit instead of marrying. The first one is to be emotional and sexual intimate without obligation of getting married. To test the compatibility of seeing that if you can deal with each other the rest of your life. To practice living together, to better know each other's habits, character, fidelity, and to reduce the risk of an emotional rupture. I will try to refute these five reasons that people tend to base their decision on cohabiting in. The people tend to cohabit before marrying or cohabit instead of marrying because they say that will benefit their later on marriage or benefit their relationship for the rest of their life. But that is wrong, and I'm going to prove it developing some arguments in different areas of what is the fundamentals of marrying. First of all, family is an institution and is the first institution presented by God to humanity. And I think that when we talk about institution, there should be a serious and big fundamental base, so that can be the support of the family. And I think that the first step is to marry your partner. In Genesis 2:24 it says, "That is why a man leaves his father and mother and is united to his wife, and they become one flesh." In this verse we see how God uses the term wife and how that implies to marry your partner, to marry the person that God created to be your partner for the rest of your life. And what better than to follow the orders of God that was the one who created this institution. I think that there is no way you can have a better relationship than following the instruction of the one that knows better the fundamentals of marriage. In Ephesians 5:22 it says, "Wife, submit yourself to your own husbands as you do to the Lord. Husband, love your wife just as Christ loved the church and gave himself up for her." Here he uses again the term of wife and husband. Another benefit of marrying is to be free of fornication. What is fornication? Fornication is the sexual involvement between two unmarried people or two people unmarried to each other. So if you decide to cohabit with your partner, you will live a life full of sin? And how can you pretend to be blessed by God, that is the one that created marriage and created that relationship of love between you and your partner, living a life full of sin? In Hebrews 13:4 it says, marriage should be honored by all, and the marriage bed kept pure. For God will judge the adulterer and all the sexually immoral. And the Bible states how fornication is a sexually immoral activity, and God will judge that in His time. And people mostly say that marriage is just only a paper, but for me it's not only a paper, it's a pact. And when you talk about a pact, you are talking about an agreement, a mutual covenant between two people with one same goal. This goal is to love each other, take care and support each other for the rest of your life. And that paper seals that commitment. How can you honor the commitment that you are trying to establish with the person that you love? Cohabitors tend to be less committed, because if you don't have anything that will tie you with that person, you will think that you have no obligation on being there for her or for him whenever they need you. They fear about having a permanent relation with that person. And how can you fear about having a permanent relation if that is the person you love? So if you really think you love that person, just go for the marriage, because that is the way that you can demonstrate your love for that person. The people that cohabit and marry later on are 46% more likely to divorce than people that marry and never cohabit before. For example, when you are going to buy a house, a car, or something very expensive, you have to sign a lot of papers, you have to follow some tests, some credit reports, and for making that deal reliable and sealing that deal in a good way in front of the law and in front of the people that you are making the deal with. So if you are trying to seal a deal with that person that you love, that you will say, I will always be here for you, than signing a paper to have that deal sealed in front of God and in front of the law, because that doesn't give you not only a good point of view from God, but in the law you can say, I am married, and this person and me are trying to be one, and we are going to fulfill it in our time. Some economic benefits about marrying that person is to be more united. Because when we see cohabitors, we see that they are more likely to be independent, to have separate bank accounts, and they are less likely to support or to be financially responsible for their partners. And this concerns me, because how can you love someone and not support them in the economic area? Because that is a fundamental area, because we know that not everything is free. We have to work, and money is a very important thing for our lives, because that way we can live a better life, and it's not fair from the man or the woman to live a better life than the partner, because he has another bank account, I have another job. It's not fair to that relationship. And people who tend to do that, they do not enjoy the benefits of a deeper and more intimate relationship, because people who try to say, this is our money and this is how we are going to administrate it, they enjoy of being more intimate and being more united. And when the difficult times come, these are just some tools that they will use to overcome those difficult times. If you want to have a secure and stable relationship, the best option is to marry. Some studies reflect that cohabitators have poor sexual relationships, and this for some people this is a little strange, because some people try to cohabit to have a better sexual life with their partner, but it is not real, because people who cohabit do not have a commitment than people who are married, and that way when people start a sexual relationship with that person, they are not committed to be always with them. They can be with someone else, and when they see that they are hard times, or they get used to the same thing over the years, they are going to go. And there we see how the reason that I gave you earlier, that people reduce the risk of divorcing. This way we see how that reflects here, because when you are with someone cohabiting, you think they will be always there for you. But if they get bored, they will leave you, and the emotional suffering is more than the one of a divorce. If there are children involved in the relationship, they will suffer, and they will have a poor emotional stability. And furthermore, there are some studies that say that children without their parents, they are more likely to be abused and to be emotionally, physically and emotionally abused. And how can you pretend to those people or those children that have your own blood suffer because the decisions you made? Because as you grow older, you cannot think only about yourself. You have to think about the people that you are going to spend the rest of your life with. In conclusion, I think that the best way to have a successful relationship in your life is to marry that person. Demonstrate the love that you have for him or for her. They will give financial stability. You will have the support of God. You will have a more committed relationship, and that will help you to overcome tough times. Like in my case, my family. Here you see my family. As you see, my mother is in a wheelchair, and the marriage of my parents is one of 21 years, and I don't know how my life will be if they decide, if 21 years ago they decided, oh, let's cohabit, marriage is just only a paper. So when my mom 10 years ago was diagnosed with multiple sclerosis, my dad will just go away, because he will not have that commitment or that contract that say I will always be here for you in the tough times and in the good times. I think that my life will be totally different, and I won't see this picture right here that was like 5 years ago. We see how following God's orders and following the simple steps of marrying and trying to be one person with that person that you love, we have this a happy family. And not always is easy, but we see the union, and that is the best tool to overcome the tough times that we have each day. So I don't want you to change your opinion right now, but I would like you to think about it, and and just think of the pros and cons of cohabiting or marriage. Thank you.